Okay, good morning. I'm joined here with Parrott from Intensifit. Good morning, Si. How you doing, mate?
I'm all good, thank you, mate. And you?
Yeah, good, mate. Feeling weather's not too good, but I'm feeling all right today. So, Si, for those who don't know, can you just tell us, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into the industry?
Well, basically, I've got a company called Intensifit. My background's actually rugby. So, me and my best mate Michael Dutton, we set up. Basically, we were playing for Sedgley Park at the time, semi-pro, but his mate not earning enough dough. So we thought, what's our passion? How can we make a little bit more money? And at the time, it just felt like the right thing to do. We were really passionate about fitness, really passionate about training. We'd done it since we probably 16 years old. Me and Mike had literally not missed a day in the gym, mate. And then alongside, the conditioning side of rugby, it just became, a real passion of ours. So we just thought, let's set up a business. Started actually in sports conditioning. We had a few little teams on board, a few local football teams. The best one was probably a lacrosse team we had, actually. We had a few England lads.
Nice.
Started going down that route, and then obviously the money's again pretty crap in that. So we looked at other avenues. So we started down the bootcamp route, and I think at first we just had a female only bootcamp, which took off actually. Again at a local rugby club, and at that local rugby club they had a little gym. Eccles Rugby Club it was. Oh, yeah. And Mike's dad's actually pretty high up in Eccles Rugby Club, so we just said to him, if we start training people at the gym, can we cut a little deal? And we did. And that's how we started, mate. More gym based, and we got into transformations pretty early doors, because it was just pretty like high in our values to really focus on people and make sure that they're getting the best out of us. And if you do that, you actually get really, really good transformation. So I think off the back of our first 6 clients, I think we still use their pictures to this day on our Instagram because they're that good. Yeah. And I think, when you're fresh into the industry and you want to make an impression, I think we just stuck to our guns, mate, and we absolutely nailed it. And then it just grew. It just grew from there. Got ourselves a little unit round the corner. And there was actually 2 other units next to it. So we stayed in one unit for 3 years. I think we had, it was just me and Mike at that point, personal training. Then we pushed more into we had a membership. What we tried to do with that is we were trying to bridge the gap between personal training and a class, basically. So what you would do is you'd still do all your compound lifts, and then me and Mike we'd be actively coaching. So it was like you were personal training, but you just had 12 people to train.
It's like small group training, isn't it?
It's basically small group personal training, mate. But it meant that you could get significant results from a class base then, and then you could kind of bring the price down, but have it high enough and with enough people that you would actually make more money. So.
You chucked loads at me there in terms of the whole journey. You said about 3 years there at the unit. How long did that take them from those initial, the sports teams, the boot camps, to where you are today? That long journey.
I would say I would have been 22 when we started doing some sports teams. I'm 31 now, so it's been a 9-year journey there. To get from, just it as an idea, to where we are now, which is just about to move into a pretty top facility.
9 years. So what's sorry,
say again.
I was gonna say what was the biggest the biggest challenge or hurdle that you had to face in that journey that was kind of like the tipping point of where you are today, if you know what I mean?
I think it was probably, I think the transition from the rugby club gym to the unit, that was tough because we had to, buy a lot of equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to upfront cost a lot of money and outlay a lot of money that, we didn't really want to outlay, but you've got to. So that's tough. But then the second jump we ended up getting the second unit and the third unit next to the one we already had and knocking through and making one big gym. Mm-hmm. And that jump, I think there was a time where we didn't pay ourselves a wage, I think for about 4 months, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we made that second jump. And it was just because your bills go through the roof. Mm-hmm. And obviously the units were absolutely crap. So we had to board them all out. We had to get them all painted. We had to get the matting in. We had to get the Astro in. Before you know it, mate, you've spent all your money. Mm. And, you can't claw that back quickly. So that jump from becoming just this tiny little business to maybe something that's actually on a bigger scale was really difficult. Really difficult. Glad we took the risk now, you know what I mean? But at the time, I can remember thinking, not sure this is for me.
Yeah, I think I did want to dive into obviously the gym ownership and kind of that experience a little bit later. But while we're on it now, we might as well just get stuck into it. In terms of that jump from going to one unit to obviously a larger unit and not paying yourself for 4 months, that's like one of the kind of challenges that a lot of people face, don't they, when they in a certain period of the business. Yeah. What would you say to those who are looking to go from, maybe in a gym as a PT and then getting their own little unit, or going from a boot camp to a unit, or going from one unit to a bigger, facility? What sort of advice or experience would you give to them?
I would just make sure they've got a plan. Like, the plan is key. You have a plan, and then you have your core values. And that's probably true for most businesses. It's like you're talking about USPs for your own business. You have to have a unique selling point. You have to be doing something that somebody else isn't doing, mm-hmm. and doing it very well. So, the advice I would give is, if you're going to do it, jump into it and give it absolutely everything. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't, you're probably going to fail. And I think that's, it's going to be true for most things, mate. As a rugby player, mate, it runs through for everything. If you don't give it absolutely everything at that moment, you're just going to sink. So forget about money for the first 6 months and focus on sticking to your values and working excessively hard. Mm-hmm. And it'll pay off in the end.
And when you said about planning there, that's a massive thing in terms of core values and planning. Just delve into that a little bit. What was the plan? Was it just you and your co-founder just kind of writing a plan, or did you get anyone external? Did you go to see anyone, an accountant or anything like that? How does that work for you as a business owner?
To be honest, mate, we didn't go to an accountant because we actually weren't focused on finances at all. And I think it was like a nice essence to us as a company, that it was never about money. The steps we were always making, it was kind of always focused on how can we make this better for our members and for our community. So I think in that way, that the way we organically grew, people bought into it because they could see that we weren't just these two guys trying to make quick cash. Mm. We were genuinely thinking that the plan changes, mate. You probably know yourself. We had a vision for where we were, but then you kind of get towards it, and as you're getting towards it, things change, and you can see how, maybe different avenues. So we started off just one-on-ones. Mm-hmm. Then we were like, well, we could actually give people this personal training experience, but in a group, Mm-hmm. And that kind of came from, we were looking at it from a rugby conditioning point of view. There's no better training environment, mate, than your rugby team all going at it in the gym. So we were thinking, well, why can't normal people have this experience? You know what I mean? We can set that up. All it takes is a bit of programming and 2 top coaches to drill it. So that's kind of how it progressed, mate. And the plan just changed accordingly as we kept hitting a few hurdles, or you hit the ceiling, as they say, where you reach capacity and then you have to change your plan.
Yeah, I know that feeling already.
It's really tough.
Yeah, in terms of then to your clients, you said about the experience and the members. What sort of clients do you have at the moment, and have you got any clients that have kind of been with you throughout the whole journey, or have you seen a rise and fall of types of clients that come and go?
No, we've actually had clients who have literally been with us since day one, mate. Okay. Literally since our first ever women's boot camp. Really? we've had clients for 9 years. You'll get good loyalty, and again, it just falls into, it's all about values, mate. As a company, if you stick with them, you'll have good retention of members, 100%, because they'll buy into it. If they align with your values, they're going to buy into you, and they'll buy into you as people as well. And then that just becomes loyalty, that, and then they won't leave you. They'll stay with you as long as you're giving a good service, which should be why you set the business up in the first place. People are going to stay with you. So we've got really loyal members. We've got members from all different walks of life, mate, from young professionals to people in the 60s who are just doing it because they have it as part of their lifestyle. We've got people who are doing hardcore transformations, who are just looking to completely transform themselves. We've got people who are just doing it for the mental health. So yeah, you end up with a mixed bag, but it actually makes the community better, because you've got people from all different walks.
Have you found just on that's kind of just jumped into my head? You've been with the business for 9 years. Obviously, Media City's grown. Salford Keys. Obviously, you're based in Eccles. Have you seen kind of a rise in that type of client in terms of the professional, as you said? Have you seen that obviously populating the area?
Yeah, I would say on our membership especially, our biggest market's probably the 25 to 40 year old. So, it's more those young professionals, and I guess, they are probably all working around Media City and town. So yeah, that does dominate the market, I think. In our gym anyway, definitely.
Does that make you change anything? Have you had to adapt anything, or different level of service or different types of programs?
Not really, mate. I mean, you kind of, obviously personal training, you just adapt to that individual. There's always going to be a generic theme running through training. I know people go on about, I can give you this tailored program. Well, let's be honest about it. Training is just training, and there's always going to be a generic theme. But then you just have to tailor that around that individual for that session. The group membership, no, I think even the younger clients or the older clients, that they're all running through the same themes when it comes to the training, mate. We don't have to adapt too much. I think we're quite niche in what we do, and if they don't like it straight away, then they just won't come to us. We do a lot of lifting. We focus on compound lifts. We do a lot of high intensity interval training. It's not hardcore. We're not going to shout at anybody, but it's proper training. In my eyes, it's proper training. So yeah, well, I think we get a certain style of person who's taking the training pretty seriously, mate.
Okay. And how have your clients, and I know you've got a bit of a team there at Intensifit now, haven't you? It's not just the two of you. Obviously, you've got some PTs and coaches who work with you at the facility. How have those and the clients coped with the lockdown and not being able to get in the gym and things like that? What are you doing with those members at the moment?
So currently, I think we have 2 Zooms a day. And again, that's like a class environment. Yeah, so I think there's up to 40 people allowed to come on them Zooms. And we run like I think Monday is like a body weight session, Tuesday's kettlebells, Wednesday's dumbbells, and Thursday today, I actually ran today's session. That was abs and hip. And then we'll just keep repeating that process. So that's what we're doing for our members. We've basically like split out all the members to each one of the team, the staff, and said contact them, ask them if there's anything we can do for them, if they need a program, get them to tell you what equipment they've got, and start writing them up a program and stay in touch with them people, make sure they're okay. The staff, obviously that has been pretty hard because me and Mike are obviously a limited company, so we were able to put ourselves on furlough, but the people who actually work with us, they're just self-employed, so I think they've had to go down the route of trying to, I think it was universal credits, weren't it?
I think so, yeah.
Which I don't think was very substantial, to be honest, mate.
No. So, how have you found the whole process? Have you had a lot of clients maybe drop off, or retention been great, or did they start really good at the start of lockdown, buzzing, and now it's kind of, I don't know how I'm feeling like that.
Yeah.
I was in my bedroom, I've had enough. But how has it felt for them and for you?
The motivation has definitely dropped off, mate. It definitely has dropped off. And in terms of members, we've had a massive over 50% have dropped off the membership, and I understand it. It's home training is not for everybody, and it's still quite a big outlay. We did bring it down to like the lowest tariff that we offer, but at the same time, it's still a big outlay. And if they've been affected, if their wages have come down, then I completely understand it, mate. So yeah, we basically sent a message out saying, listen, if you can help us to support us to make sure that we're still here when we come out of COVID, happy days. If you can't, no hard feelings, honestly, don't worry about it. We understand everyone's situation, and what's got to be has got to be.
Yeah, I know the feeling, mate. And as you said, some people say they've got great retention. Some people have said that they've, like, all of them have near enough gone. Do you know what I mean? It just depends on facility per facility. But me myself, as I just said, I know the feeling. Like I'm sick to death of doing a few press ups in my bedroom and that. I don't ever want to see a band ever again. You know what I mean? It's just, it's only so much you can do, isn't there, on Zoom? So I know, obviously, a lot of people are trying to get back in July. Hopefully the 4th of July might be the first type of date that people would get back into facilities. But I know we spoke a little bit off camera. But how are you guys gearing up for that? And is it realistic for independent gyms like yourself to have restricted numbers and different sort of spacings?
Well, we're keeping an eye out for all the stuff on how you should actually open in terms of, do we have to social distance? Do we have to have so many stations of the hygiene, alcohol spray on your hands and stuff like that? Is there a set way we actually have to run our sessions? And so far we've not had anything, to be honest, mate. So it's not very good. But the biggest concern of ours is obviously if we open and they're saying, well, you can only have X amount of people per square metre, well then, if we can't open with enough capacity, we can't earn enough money to open. So it becomes like a double-edged sword. You want to open because these people who have continued to pay the membership, you want to give them something back. But at the same time, how do we go about reopening it with such a low capacity? I'm struggling to see how they're gonna bring gyms like mine back up to a place where they can open.
I think that's a great point, especially in terms of the enforcement. Like, who is actually going to be enforcing these rules or helping support facilities to make sure they're up to the standard that they need to be? Is it going to be a case? I know a lot of people are just kind of doing a waiver, you know what I mean, that the members have to sign a waiver, but who's that getting checked by? It's just all a bit up in the air, isn't it, at the moment? But how have you got on with the rental and stuff like that? Did you ever get any relief on that, or is that?
Yeah, we've got a good relationship with our landlords, to be fair, mate. It's an old couple who owns our buildings, and they are really, really nice. And we've always helped them; they've always helped us. So as soon as it happened, we just got in touch with them and said, "Listen, we're not going to have any income really. The money that's coming in is only just paying our, because we still have stuff like equipment that we've leased. We've got payments for that. We've got payments for our app. We've got payments for our website. You end up building up all these monthly payments, and obviously as soon as the money stops coming in, mate, they don't stop. So they've been quite understanding, to be fair, mate. Been lucky.
And how have they, and you talk about the equipment and stuff like that, what have they said, you know, those sort of companies, the suppliers and things like that, is they just rolling on like...
Not heard a thing off that credit agreement, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, it just keeps rolling. Sorry, pal. Yeah, it's a stinker, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible, mate. That was good. That's, you know, appreciate that very honest insight in terms of, you know, private studios and gyms and, you know, how they cope at the moment. So in terms of Intensifit itself, I know one of the big things we want to talk about is kind of one of your niches and your specialists at the moment. I know you do the small group training, you do a bit of one-to-one, you do some classes, but the big thing is transformations, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just want to learn a little bit more about transformations as a concept, and then how you guys do it, and, you know, what makes it so good at Intensifit.
Yeah. Well, I think I do see a lot of personal trainers, they slam down actually about transformations. You know, they'll say negative things about them. You know, people offering 6-week transformations, you know, it's just a gag, you can't do anything in 6 weeks, it's a lifestyle. But that, what we actually do within a 6-week transformation, it's a learning curve, you know, more than anything for that person. Mm-hmm. It's for them to understand what the process of cutting actually is. You know, you speak to any bodybuilder, mate, mm-hmm. that process is horrendous. It's horrific. You know, it's not enjoyable, but of course it's not, because you are starving yourself in reality. That's what it is. So I think the valuable things they learn within that 6-week process stay with them for their entire life. And I think they learn things about themselves personally, you know, being able to completely change their lifestyle habits, their cravings. I honestly think a 6-week transformation, and a 12 weeks even better, is so valuable for you in life. And that's why I don't understand personal trainers who don't do them, really. But I think it's because they don't understand how to do them, that they're a bit scared of going down that route. Mm-hmm. So ours, the way we work ours, obviously we'll look at them as a person, we'll look at their habits, we'll look at their body type, and how we split it up a little bit is that how we think they react to insulin spikes. So we'll really tailor their diet based on their body type. So for people like me and you, we could stay on a high carb diet, and as long as we're on a calorie deficit, mate, we're going to get shredded. Mm-hmm. But, you know, there's people out there, especially you'll see them with like the pear shape, and they hold on to a lot of fat around the belly. Well, that's just from years and years of that insulin spike, mate, and they become a little bit insulin resistant. So we tend to use a very, very low carb diet, sometimes keto, mm-hmm. To start that process off, just to really, you know, get that insulin sensitivity back to where it should be. And as you can imagine, that just completely shocks their system. And I think that's why you'll see some of our transformations that are just, you know, people are going, Jesus, how have you done that? Well, yeah. It's because the transition from hammering carbs, especially refined carbs like breads and sugars,
the best
to not eating any, you know, your body just goes, wow, what's this? You know what I mean? And as I say, I think the most valuable bit of it is how much they learn about nutrition, about training, about themselves, because it's really tough mentally. It's really tough, mate.
In terms of a couple of questions on that, one about obviously the constant check-ins and the measurements and kind of how you're monitoring that. But the first one is, you know, when you said about 6 weeks and 12 weeks, is a 6 weeks just more intense and the 12 weeks just a little bit more moderate because it lasts longer, or, you know, are they completely different? You know, tell us a little bit more about that.
No, the 6 weeks and the first 6 weeks of your 12 weeks are going to be pretty similar. Okay. So obviously it just depends on how long that person wants to do it for. If they do choose the 12 weeks, it means we can seriously change that person. We can probably change their entire life for the rest of their life. In 6 weeks, yes, they're going to lose a significant amount of body fat and they're going to learn a lot. But could they just revert straight back if they fell straight back into the normal habits? Maybe. maybe. Whereas I think 12 weeks, that's a full life change of that.
Mm-hmm. And how do you talked about insulin spikes and, cravings and things like that. How do you at Intensifit monitor that? What sort of apps are you using? What sort of, techers are you using for that?
We use Google Sheets. Okay. So yeah, we have, individual pages at the bottom. They're all obviously made for individuals, but on that you'll get a target of what we want them to hit based on their macros and the calories. And then they'll have a diet tracker within that sheet. So basically every single day they've got to input their food. Mm-hmm. And if they've gone over on anything, they get a big red red mark, mate, and a bit of a bollocking over text. But the WhatsApp groups, they're pretty valuable as well, because say you've got 10 people all doing the same challenge, it's good for them to share the process together, and
so do you do it as group intakes type thing? So you'll get 10 people on it, then that'll be the 6-week challenge.
Yeah, everyone starts. It was before lockdown, everyone started on the 1st. Now we're doing it from the 1st and the 15th, just because we're not getting as much take up.
Yeah. And in terms of the sessions that they do, is that purely just at the gym with you, or do you do some 6-week challenges where they go to a different gym, or they do home workouts, or what? How does that work?
Yeah, we have a mixture, mate. We have some people who come from, I think there was one girl from Kuwait who did one last month, yeah. And again, so all our workouts are all video linked.
Right.
So we've videoed all our exercises, so they can literally click on what it is and see it. So yeah, they'll go away and do it, and then they have to fill in what they've done on those days.
And so in terms of transformation as a concept, in terms of from you guys as a business and other PTs you do things like that, is it purely that I'll just want to come to you, 6-week challenge, I'll obviously be in great shape at the end of the 6 weeks, then I just wave goodbye, nice one, Si, or is it a tool for you to then have them as members? Is it a development phase for you? How does it work for you guys at Intensifit?
100%, mate. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. So, most of the people who get in touch with us, they want to train with us as well.
Okay.
If they don't, then we do offer them a deal on coming onto our membership straight after, because the care that they actually get, just being a member at our gym is going to be so valuable to them coming out of a 6-week transformation. Because, as I say, it's a tough process, and then when you're finished, it's like you're a deflated balloon a little bit. You're ecstatic, you've got these results, and then it's like, oh, it's over. You know what I mean? What do I do now? What do I eat now? Who's gonna stay on my case now? So yeah, we do offer them as much aftercare as we can, and one of that is jumping on our membership, which is obviously a little bit more cost effective for them, and a good way of us keeping on top of them and them continuing the transformation process, mate, as a lifestyle.
And does that tie into yourselves as the owners, but your staff? I know they'll be freelance, they'll be self-employed, but do you do the transformations as a gym, or is it on a per trainer basis, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, it's as a gym, it's as a brand, but there's 4 of us who run them at the moment, actually, and that's just down to who we have seen as being good. I want to say good enough, but not good enough. But they've taken it on themselves to learn this process, and they want to do it, and they're really good with people. And so we've got a girl called Alana, who she runs pretty much all the women's, and you'll have seen some of the women's recently. They've been unbelievable.
Yeah.
And she's just absolutely amazing with people. Everybody says so. I always do little check-ins with people, even if it's someone she's got. I always make sure I get in touch with them as well and just say, how are you getting on? Because we know most of these people, and they all just say, Alana is absolutely brilliant. If it weren't for her personality, I don't think I'd have stuck it out. So I think that you end up with a really good personal connection with these people. When you think you're speaking to them every day, you don't even speak to your dad every day. You know what I mean? It's you end up really, really personal with these people.
And it sounds like obviously you've got a real good niche there in terms of transformation. It's going really well. How did you kind of get into that? I know we spoke briefly about the transformations and how you might got into it, but how do PTs who might be inexperienced transformations or want to get into transformations, what sort of information can they get? What's out there for them to get stuck into to go down that route of transformations?
What I would say, it's got to come from within them. If that's something they're really, really interested in, and changing a person's body in that way, then it's just science. All that learning is there for you to do for free online. Like, you could go and learn about it as long as you're willing. It's like, if I wanted to learn about mental wellness, I could go and learn about that if I wanted to. And then it's just sticking to your values and working hard for those people. You know what I mean? You've got to remember that you're a service for this person. So give this person absolutely everything. And I think as long as you do that, and I think that's where a lot of PTs go wrong, and they've got into it because of the wrong reasons, as we were touching on earlier.
Yeah.
If you're not doing this because you want to help people, then you're in it for the wrong reasons, because that's what personal training is. It's you helping these people achieve amazing things, because you understand the processes, you understand training, and it's your passion. You've got to give them that passion and drive it into them so that they achieve amazing things underneath you.
And just a last real point, I know I've picked your brains on transformations there. Is that something that is kind of, that's your flag there at the moment? That's what it's going to continue to be, Intensifit. Is that where you want to be going with things as your main sort of service?
Yeah, I think it's going to be our main theme throughout our business. But we actually have a really strong community as well, because Eccles in Salford. Salford's quite a big community, and so we actually have a lot of people who don't come and do transformations. We had over 130 members who were coming 3 times a week, and none of them were doing a transformation. They come because the way we do the sessions, they come because of the way we still drive those values just into our normal membership. You know what I mean? We're still asking them every day, how's your eating been? What have you been doing? We provide them with diet plans. We provide them with ways of working out how many calories they should be eating. And, we're constantly asking them, because that is a big section of our business is that taking care of them. And they're here for a reason, for making a better lifestyle for themselves. And so that's what we do. We focus on it. So yeah, I'd say it's 50% of what's the most important thing running through our business at the moment. The other side is definitely our community.
And we've not really touched upon the community aspect, obviously, at gym. I know we've touched upon people who've stayed with you for years. What sort of stuff? I know you're on your website, you've got the members area and things like that. What do you do? And you kind of touched on it then in terms of meal plans or a bit of education. And, is that what you kind of provide for those who are already members? A bit of education for them and stuff, support?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, that's really high up in our values, that education, because as we say, I've said it loads of times, but we're trying to push this as a lifestyle onto people. One, we want to retain them. So we're trying to add as much value to them as we can. And I think, one of those things has got to be education. If they're not learning something underneath you that's going to benefit them in life, then what's the point in being there? You know what I mean? I think we've really got to move away from that. You just turn up, you get blitzed, you get off, because that's, them classes have got to be long gone now. You need, if somebody says to me, you know what, I've had a great 6 months here, but I really understand now training and it as a lifestyle, I'm just going to go away and do it on my own. That's music to my ears. That, of course I want to retain them as a member, but the fact that they're saying they've learned enough from us to be able to go and do this on their own, well, that's happy days. That's my job done. I feel successful there because I've passed on enough knowledge and value that they feel well equipped enough to go and do it on their own.
Yeah, I think you're right on that in terms of getting blitzed and going home. Kind of probably with similar sort of ages. The last 10 years, we've kind of, well, 10, 15 years, we've seen big gyms kind of go into the class-based, haven't we? And now it is kind of, the big thing is the service and the membership and, you know, making sure everyone's supported, isn't it? I think that's where fitness is at the moment, and it's all about that community aspect, isn't it?
Yeah, it has to be, mate.
Right, Si, I think we've covered loads of stuff there, mate. Really appreciate it. It's been a great insight in terms of you know, journey in the gym, the transformations, and how you're getting on during the lockdown. The last thing I always ask is if you could give us, from your experiences, your 3 biggest piece of advice for those who want to get in the industry, to become a personal trainer or a coach, to be working with people. What would be your 3 biggest piece of advice be?
Right. So, number 1, I would say treat every client as if it was your last ever client. So, as if it was going to be the only one you were ever going to put out there. Treat every client like that, because you want to give everybody the best of your service at every possible moment. Mm-hmm. I would say that feeds straight into get some early results, because that's your biggest marketing tool. You know, the fact that you are getting results, it doesn't have to be transformations. You know, your niche could be something else. Mm-hmm. But as long as you're getting results with whatever you're focusing on as your niche, you know, make sure you're getting it. And then 3rd one, I would say be adaptable and relatable at all times, because you're going to see so many different people, and you've got to be able to adapt whatever it is you're doing, and you've always got to be able to relate to these people in some way. So, you know, part and parcel of personal training, you're probably going to be a counsellor at some point. So be able to relate to these people.
Okay. Nice one, Si. Just want to echo them 100%. Some great points there. Definitely resilience and adaptable is a massive thing for those who are just getting in, isn't it?
Oh, massive, mate.
That 3rd year is a roller coaster.
All the time.
Right, Si. Really appreciate that, mate. It was good to catch up with you, and I'll hopefully catch up with you soon when this is all done, mate.
Yeah, top to catch up, mate.